Good afternoon and welcome to our conversation on another beautiful day from Santa Barbara, California. I'm host Bettina Brandt and coach. I offer support to live life more fully with greater purpose, meaning, and fulfillment and joy. The easiest place to find me is bettinabrandt.site. And with me again today from Sebastopol, California, is Dr. Ofer Zor, founder of the Zor Institute and Project Insights, where he is also director. Licensed psychotherapist, ethics consultant, expert witness, teacher, writer, speaker, adventurer, and of course, critical thinker. Welcome back, Dr. Oz.
Thank you. Thank you.
Today, we're going to be talking about vocation, purpose, calling, and meaning. And then we'll review the Ikigai, which is the Japanese version of a Venn diagram that brings those pieces together. So first off, with Dr. Zor, we're going to talk about, would you like to introduce this piece?
We are going to differentiate between occupation and vocation or calling. This will be the first part. And so you can help us define kind of the two constructs.
So we're exploring the questions of what we're good at. So identifying our gifts, talents, and our abilities that we've acquired and experiences that we've acquired through life. So do you want to start off with what yours?
We want to differentiate what we were our occupation. Occupation is what we do for money to survive, to pay the rent, to pay the car loan, whatever it is, to pay for food. In contrast to occupation, which is paying the rent, is vocation or calling. And this is also, it can be for many people, it can be both, that you make money from your calling. Many people do not. So if you think about yourself as an artist and you paint, this will be your calling. On the other hand, you may need to work at or you may need to do other things that you may enjoy or not, but you do it primarily to pay the rent and to put food on the table. So we are differentiating big picture, what I'm here on this planet for, what I would like to contribute with what do I do to pay the rent. So occupation versus vocation. And we have a set of 8 questions, kind of 4 questions, A and B, each one, to try to help you identify what are your vocation, what you are being called for, what you can do during your life so you can die in peace, so you can really feel fulfilled in your life. That makes sense?
Yep, it does.
So the first question will be, what are you good at? Identify, and I'll ask you, Bettina, to respond to that first. Identify your gift, your talent, your capacities, areas that you excel, kind of what you inborn gifts or ability that you acquire or were born with during your life. What are these for you? Not for the money, not for the rent, not for the gas.
I would say emotional intelligence is one of my top gifts, I would say, to the point where as a child, I would point things out to people that weren't always welcome. I would notice, I could identify how people were feeling. So emotional intelligence, I'm very strategic in my thinking. I'm really good at coming up with ideas, distilling complex information into more simple ideas that people can digest a little more easily.
Okay,
Um,
I will attest to that. You're very good at that. Yeah.
hmm, your
Okay,
turn.
on my end, if I'll say what I'm really good at is critical thinking, thinking outside the box, um, doing good, even though it cost me popularity or it cost me kind of reputation, but doing good, uh, sometimes even using force for the good that I want to do on the planet. For me, it came from a dinner table, even at age 10 or 12. My mother got us to report a good deed for the day. I mean, can you believe it, age 10? So my sister and I will go to the other room and say, what are we going to tell mom today about the good deed of the day? We didn't do anything. We just were normal. So my sister said, why don't you tell mom that you help an old lady cross the street? So it was induced into me to do good on a daily basis.
Hmm,
So then we can move to the next question, can we?
absolutely.
Okay,
Um,
so the next question, and I'll ask you again, what are you not good at? Identify what you are not excelling at, what are not your gift, what you are really were not born to do.
I have to think about that.
Yeah.
um, that depends on the circumstances and the situation that I'm in. But I would say, um, although I have a mind for details, I can play something out in my mind and see all of the things that need to be done. I'm not the best at following through with all of the details myself. So I know that if I'm in a situation where there's a really big goal that needs to be achieved, I need to build some sort of team to follow through to completion.
What other areas you're not good at?
Uh, at this point in life, directions, navigating, and that
Navigating.
could be that you could look at that as a metaphor in a way. But
Yeah,
yeah,
this is good. On my end, I'm not good with technology. I'm not good with computers. I'm not good in following orders, even protocols, as you know, and you suffered because of that. So I'm not good in kind of the details of programming. This is why you have been such a gift for me. So I stayed with the big picture, and you cannot really do anything with the big picture without really having the foundation. And I'm not good at that. But this is why you are and some other good people in my life filling in a most fantastic way. So but I'm aware that I'm not good with a foundation. I'm just sometimes floating up there with my ideas that I would like to convey, but how to get it from point A to point B, I need you and other people.
mm-hmm. I think we all need that in different aspects of our lives, don't we? People to fill in the blank spaces because none of us are good at everything. We
Yeah,
need to recognize our strengths and our weaknesses so that I don't necessarily think we have to work on our weaknesses, but we need to be able to identify those so that we
yeah,
can fill in those spaces.
yeah, yeah. Okay. The next question also have two aspects to it. Is what kind of tasks and activity give you joy? So now we are not talking what you are good at, but what give you delight, what fill you with energy, what you are waking up in the morning looking forward to. So what give you joy, delight, or pleasure? What do you like to do? And so if you have all the money and time and health and love in your life, what would you do? That would be the question. Kind of not necessarily as a mission in life, or it can be the mission in life, but what give you pleasure?
So, are we depleting first? Are we covering what depletes us first?
Say it again.
Which are we covering first? What depletes us and bores us?
No, now we are asking. I'm asking
Oh,
you
there we
what gives you delight, what gives you pleasure.
go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I really enjoy physical activities, including travel, but I really do love between working out and uh, traveling, endurance sport, those kinds of long distance swimming, cycling, anything where I can challenge myself, usually solo, not necessarily competitive with other people. But I also enjoy coming up with ideas. I like doing things creatively. Anything that can engage my creative energy. Um,
So it could be physical, or it can be psychological, or it can be
mhm.
computer creativity, kind of newness.
Yeah, I mean, I like to come up with. So if someone has a goal, I like to come up with the strategy behind how to get to the goal. If you have a problem, I like to help you solve it. That's basically one of my favorite things is to
Okay.
is to help people solve problems. And I love to see
Okay.
people succeed. I really, really, really enjoy genuinely seeing people reach their goals or achieve things or do things that they really enjoy doing and
So
helping people.
it gives you joy, kind of,
Hmm.
of course, kind of
Yeah,
whether it's long distance riding or helping people.
sure.
Mine is a little bit different because I take joy by challenging people, as you know.
Hmm.
I, I take joy by critical thinking. That means I'll help people rethink what they think is right, rethink what they think is good, rethink what they even can do themselves. So challenging people, not very
Hmm.
popular, but it gives me pleasure. Definitely not popular in many situations. So in my mind, I'm helping the people or the environment or the community or the earth or the world. It
Hmm.
doesn't seem necessarily that I'm always connecting very well with people whom I help,
Hmm.
because I come as a preacher sometimes, I come as know it all, whatever it is, but it's kind of it gives me the delight and the pleasure of having a better world in my terms, justice issues and things like that. Again, it's not about popularity by no means, but it's
Hmm.
about ideas in your world. How do you make this world better? How do you make this person tied to his or her vocation? Does it make sense?
And that's respectable. Hmm. It's more
Uh,
important, more value for you to be respected than to be liked.
Respected, and sometimes I'm neither. I'm I'm
Oh.
neither respected nor liked, but I'm still like to do that. So I can't even say I'm waiting for the respect. It come my way sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. But it gives me joy, the challenge for the purpose of doing good.
Hmm.
And it ties
Hmm.
again to my mother asking us to report what good did you do today. She didn't ask what pleased you today. What pleasure
Hmm.
did you give to other people? Because you are so
Hmm.
much better in making people feel better. You should make me feel better. So it's like, but I don't have any relationship to that necessarily on its own, whether it's with
Hmm.
my kids, with my wife, with God. I want to go after what is right rather than after what pleasing.
But at the same time, you don't necessarily like to follow the rules. So isn't that interesting?
No,
It's
I
uh,
I grew up and I had my kids with that. There are good rules and bad rules, and we need to follow the good rules. So
I can relate.
you can imagine it got me into a lot of trouble, but that's okay. And my kids will come home from school and they'll say, and we'll think about it. What do you think? Is it a good rule that you didn't follow? Or perhaps you did right by not following bad rules. So for
Hmm.
me, critical thinking is exactly what you just said. Is it a good rule
Hmm.
or a bad rule? And it can get you
Hmm.
into trouble if you don't follow rules, period. And I got into trouble, and that's fine with me. I'm proud of it.
Mhm.
Because if I don't follow bad rules, I can sleep okay. So thank you. You're right. Okay, now we are going to the next question. The next question is, what kind of tasks or activities bore you, deplete you, that you just hate to do? You don't respect yourself for doing, that you kind of say, that's wasting my life. And we need to be careful here, because sometimes these activities is how we make money to pay the rent. So it's a complex, but now we are forgetting about money and rewards. We are just asking, what depletes your soul? What bores you? What do you hate to do? What is it for you?
Gossip. Um,
Say it again.
Gossip. I don't like gossip at all. And small talk is a big one for me. I don't. I'm not. I'm not interested in lack of meaningful conversation. I want some purpose to come out of what's coming out of the conversation.
It's a big one.
It's
In social situation that can get you into trouble, or
and I'm okay with that
alienated, make you kind of differentiate yourself.
Well, I think it can make us seem as if, I mean, we're aloof, or we can easily be judged by the way we interact with other people or choose not to. And sometimes I choose not to, and that should be okay.
I can relate to that. Small talk just turns me off, or feel like I'm being depleted.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
so
don't like
I'm not
pettiness.
good. And there's a place, I don't say that small talk is not right in the world. Sometimes it's a way to connect, and kind of you meet and you start with a small talk, and then you can go deep. And I don't know how to pace it very well. And which is not necessarily a big quality or good qualities. But like you, I'm not good in small talk. I'm definitely awful in programming, editing. I'm just wedded to ideas. So I can give my writing or anything else for people to edit, and I don't care about commas and wording necessarily. Just don't mess with my ideas. So in this regard, I'm an editor dream, because I have friends, author friends, who can write half a page about a comma,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't see commas.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm an editor dream. I'm not dream of many other professions, but I'm an editor dream in a way. Just don't mess with the idea. Find a way to present it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm happy. I mean, this is why kind of, when you editing my work sometimes or help me, I don't read it after that. I just make sure you stuck. You stay
Very,
with
very trusting.
you stay with my ideas, and how do you present it? I don't care one bit.
Mm.
So so
Awesome.
it depletes me. It really bores me. It's like I hate it. Comma,
So,
somebody.
did you receive criticism when you were younger for your writing?
I may get in. I don't remember. I probably did.
I did, and I was really sensitive about it.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's unfortunate. I mean, that can be something that really deters us from pursuing.
Yeah, it can. Yeah,
really interested in.
It didn't deter me, but it can. Yeah, it definitely.
Okay, so we covered. Anything else you hate to do?
Small talk, meaningless talk. I definitely don't like to participate in immoral action, and sometimes I pay my taxes are. I mean, I don't like the way my taxes are being used in whatever country. I have lived in
Mm-hmm.
my life, and I've lived all over the globe.
Mm-hmm.
So I not that I have control over that, but I know there's a sense of discontent about issues of justice, of fairness, of what is right, and even the small things that lead to good things or to bad things. I pay attention to where does it all start.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say are some other things that deter us from pursuing the things that we're most passionate about?
Often, it's a very good question. Often it is not thinking in these terms. This is why you and I introducing this term and differentiating occupation, what you do for money, from what you heart. So you ask yourself, what my heart desire, not how do I pay the bill, the rent.
Mm.
So again, ask me again. I'm not sure if I'm following you.
What kinds of issues would cause people to not pursue their purpose
So
or
you ask yourself,
their passion?
so you ask yourself, if I have all the money in the world, how would I spend my day? With
Mm-hmm.
whom would I spend the day? Would it
Mm-hmm.
be just on a board on the river? Would it be like in Africa saving the elephants, or would it be
Mm-hmm.
helping the homeless in the backyard,
Mm-hmm.
or writing poetry? So ask yourself, what is it? And if you cannot have your calling as a way to pay the rent, just separate them. So you say, I'm going to work, whatever it is that I work for the money, and I also give the time and energy and space to write poetry, to draw, to
Mm-hmm.
help the homeless.
Mm-hmm.
So identify the two aspects, and don't criticize yourself that your occupation is not your calling, because it's not that easily doable always.
Mm-hmm.
Do your occupation, pay the rent, and then do the poetry.
Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to share a slide really quickly of a Japanese way of approaching. So this is a Venn diagram. And so in Japan, there's a phrase, it's ikigai. And it basically means a reason for living, a purpose for living. Um, and so just like what you talked about, it's a nice visual, especially for those of us who are visual learners, on how to approach this in a way that might make a little more sense to you, because you can see where the different areas converge. And where those areas converge are where you can find mission, vocation, profession, passion. And at the center there, you can see the ikigai, which is the ultimate sort of goal in terms of
Beautiful.
the
I
reason
love
for
I love
being.
this vision.
Mm.
It really says everything we say about love, passion, being
Mhm.
good at what the world need, which is has to do with calling. What is our vocation? What are our profession? How do we pay the rent? It's beautiful for you to just put it kind of to present this visually, because some people are more auditory, some people will be by music, and some people will be able to relate to this. I love this. So thank you so much.
And really, you can take the diagram and draw it yourself. Just draw the 4 circles and fill them in.
Fill them
Um,
in.
and
And
fill them
this
in.
is important. Look at that and fill them in. What
Mm-hmm.
love, what you are good at, what the world needs. Fill it in. It's the same thing we've been talking all along in a visual.
Mm-hmm.
It's wonderful, and I love the colors too.
So in Japanese, the word iki means life, and the word gai means value or worth. So it's essentially what's giving you value, giving you your life worth, right? Giving you your self worth. It represents finding a sense of purpose and fulfillment in life. and a reason for being. So it's in essence
Can
combining.
people print it? Can people print it?
You can actually you can Google Ikigai and find a blank worksheet that
Okay.
you can print out. Um,
Okay.
but this is how I guide people through the process myself. So between the different aspects of life, work, relationship, personal interests, and it's a concept that will help you find joy, meaning, a sense of fulfillment, and it incorporates your inner values, which is something that we haven't so much talked about in our passions. So I really feel that if we're not incorporating our values, we become out of alignment. And those are the things that make us feel less at ease with the things that we are doing in the world. For instance, there was a time in my life that I worked in physical products in retail years ago. And I loved working with people. I loved working with customers. I loved leading people. And oftentimes I would lead people out of the work that they were doing because I could identify what their strengths really were and what they should really be doing, and I would encourage people to follow their dreams and their interests. And but it just sat so sore on my soul to know the consequence of just the consumeristic, compulsive shopping. It really sat with me it was out of alignment with my values. And so I moved completely out of that ages ago. And I always knew that I wanted to work for myself. So, yeah. Do
And
you have
again,
anything?
if some people work for others to pay the rent. They still do the exercise here and see what is my passion, what is a mission, what do I love to do, and they do both. They show up at work,
Mm-hmm.
they put their 8 hours in, and then they attend to their calling.
Mm-hmm. And it isn't to say that everybody should try and work for themselves. We don't all have the capacity. Some of us need leadership. We need more direction than
And some
others.
people are more
That's not
effective working. I mean, billions of people are more effective working as part of a team and etc. Of course, we don't put it down. No.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this model encourages us to reflect on our goals and our aspirations, our values, our interests, our gifts, our talents. And one thing that we also didn't mention is taking the input from others. Sometimes we're not so much paying attention to how other people see our gifts and talents reflected back to us. So taking other people's feedback is really important as well, so that we can take ownership of those things that we're bringing or putting out into the world.
You're right, because some people can see things that we don't see in ourselves. And I know I have taken turns in the road of my career or even place where I lived when I listened to people kind of input. Where do I fit? What can I contribute?
Mm-hmm.
What do I waste my time? So there's a value for that as well. You're
Mm-hmm.
right. And this is so important and it's relevant to everyone. And it changes throughout our lives. So this exercise, I've been doing it every 5-10 years.
Mm-hmm. And the
At my
challenges are
age,
different based on what stage of life we're in. I mean, at midlife, the challenges based on where you live, based on who you're surrounded by. Some of us have been through divorce, some of us have lost partners or family members, and our entire perspective on life has changed because we've lost a parent, or we've moved to a different country, different part of, out of community.
or we age.
We age, absolutely, or different things are going on culturally, environmentally. Look at where we are now. And this is part of why this conversation is so important. There are
And
so
it's
many
so
things going
important
on in the world.
to repeat it. As we said, I do it every 5-10 years.
Mm.
Usually I just stop and do what is my calling, What do I do for the money? What do I do to be in this world in a way that I like myself, whatever, that give me the satisfaction of the calling? And it's God. It sure looks different than what it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. So
Mhm.
to do this exercise or to listen to this recording every 5 years to see what's the questions that we posed here and what's a beautiful diagram you presented us with.
All right. Well, fantastic. Thank you for
Thank,
being with us again, Dr. Zor. And
thank you. Thank you.
I encourage everyone to go and take some time to reflect and explore what we talked about today.
And this video will be on your site.
It will be on YouTube. On
YouTube.
with yep, with links to connect to both of us as well. So,
Excellent. Thank you so
thank
much.